Are you thinking of traveling to Buenos Aires, but you don't really know what things are going to cost? Well, I've been in Buenos Aires for 3 months this year, 3 months last year, and I think at this point I've got a pretty good idea of what you can expect and what you can forecast to spend for your time visiting Buenos Aires, Argentina. So in this video, I'm going to go through costs of everything from Ubers to food to rent, everything that I've had to deal with as I've been staying here for 6 months of the last 2 years. So without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, welcome back to The Lifting Nomad. As always, my name is Alex. If you are new here, my channel is all about traveling while staying in shape, living a balanced, healthy lifestyle without sacrificing the delicious things like eating out and having a cheeky margarita on a patio. So again, in this video, I want to talk about kind of the prices and what you can expect to pay. And I do want to be adamantly clear right before we get into it. The economy here in Argentina has been extremely volatile over the last few years with hyper inflation. For reference, last year when I was here, the exact same time of year in 2023, $1 would get you about 400 or so pesos, Argentinian pesos. As of this year, March 2024, $1 gets you close to 1,000 pesos. So within 1 year, that value has. So I just want to clarify that at the beginning, that these prices are subjective, and I would imagine in a year's time, they would change again. So I do want to just make sure if you are watching this video after the fact, this is effective of March 13th, 2024. Okay, so first things first, you gotta find somewhere to stay, right? So the good news is Buenos Aires is of course a world-class mega city, and they have every kind of accommodation imaginable, from your kind of divey bunk style hostels all the way up to your 5-star hotels, like Four Seasons, that kind of thing. And in various neighborhoods, you are going to be able to get a better deal. But as a tourist and as a foreigner, you might not be able to access the same level of discounts and prices that you can as a local. But as a starting point, let's just talk about it. And for the sake of simplicity with this video, $1 is going to be valued at 1,000 Argentinian pesos. Really simple conversion. So if you see something in this video that is 10,000 pesos, you can assume that is $10. Okay, we got that figured out? All right, let's go. So if you do go on Airbnb, something like that, and pick an apartment in, let's say, Palermo or Puerto Madero, one of the more popular neighborhoods to stay in while you're visiting the city, you're going to be able to find a 1-month stay for right around $1,000, even less if you do start looking for studios in smaller neighborhoods or a little bit outside of the major core. I typically do recommend staying in Palermo just because everything here is walkable. It's very safe, very easily accessible, tons of food, tons of restaurants, tons of bars, and tons of great nightlife. But if that's not really your thing, you always have places like Recoleta, Belgrano, or Puerto Madero that also are going to fit that bill. If you do have access to things like nomad group chats or expat group chats, you may be able to get a better discount on rent. I'm in a few of them myself, and I've seen rooms for offer in like houses for as low as like 200 USD a month. Or if you're looking to just rent your own place, you can get like a studio apartment pretty cheaply. I would say right now in some of these groups, these are going for about 400 to 500 USD for a studio apartment in a decent neighborhood. Now let's talk about food, my favorite part of the day. If you are eating out on a regular basis, which a lot of people who do come here do, I would say a breakfast in like a bakery, let's say, something that's a little bit cheaper, typically gonna cost you nothing more than like 2,000 to 3,000 pesos. You can get like maybe a croissant and a coffee, that kind of thing. I have seen the prices start to go up a little bit more, so I would say it's around 3,000 to 5,000 pesos for something like that now. So again, $3 to $5 for the sake of simplicity. But if you do want to go to like a fancier place and get a sit-down brunch, maybe you're getting like some eggs and some toast and maybe a cappuccino or a cheeky mimosa, I would say that's going to get up to around like $10 to $15 on average. Then let's talk about lunch. Most places you can get like a choripan or like a $5 kind of sandwich or a burger. If you are going to eat it there, relatively cheap. I would say lunch prices anywhere from $5 to $15. Again, if you're going to go ball out in Recoleta at the Four Seasons and eat all your meals there, it's likely going to cost a little bit more. But on average, I would say around $5 to $15 for lunch. For dinner, you actually have quite a lot of options there. There's a lot of places that you can get like pretty easy grab-and-go dishes. Obviously, Argentina is pretty well known for its steaks and sitting down and having a wine and really taking your time with dinner. But if that's not your speed, if you do just want to go get the job done, there are some places that you can get like some empanadas for anywhere from like $5 to $8 for a pretty good meal. But if you do want to actually have like a proper sit-down meal with like a protein and a side and maybe like a glass of water or like a Diet Coke, something like that, It's going to cost you, I would say, around like $15 to $20 depending on the place. There are obviously lots of options around like that $5 to $10 range, but in my experience in these neighborhoods, it is right now around 15,000 to 20,000 pesos, or 15 to 20 US dollars. Now, I did want to clarify as well, there definitely are some higher end places you can go. For reference, like places like Don Julio, which is obviously very, very famous for being probably the most famous steakhouse in the world, or one of. Typically, dinner there, you're going to be spending like $50 to $200, depending on how much wine you drink, what kind of wine, how many steaks you get. So it can go, pretty high. I actually did a Michelin restaurant here called Trescia. It's a 1-star Michelin. We did a 14-course food pairing as well as a 12-course wine pairing, and that actually ended up coming to, I want to say, 260 US dollars. So pretty high, even though you're getting a ton of food and drink, but it is definitely available on the higher end for the fancier places if you are like myself and a little bit of a foodie. So when we actually look at some of the prices here, a couple things you'll see in the grocery store. Eggs for about a dozen, 2,500 pesos. Blueberries, one of these standard boxes, about 2,200 pesos. I eat a lot of lunch meat here as well because it's fairly cheap. Here's some prosciutto for 4,200 pesos. Milk, as you can see here, it comes in these little bags. Go Canada. About 2,500 pesos. And a massive, massive steak section here, obviously, as you can see. And some kind of normal sized strip loins, as you can see here. They're like pretty well marbled, lots of fat, really good cuts. 3,600 pesos, and that's for 540 grams of steak. For pop, 2-liter Diet Coke for 2,900 pesos. Again, this is stuff that I just normally buy, so this is like a bit of my grocery haul and how much I'm paying for things. When we get over to the wine section, you've obviously got quite a big range, everywhere from 2,500 pesos up to 10K, 20K, 30K, depending on the store and where you're buying from. For beer, you're looking at tall cans for about 1,400 pesos. Energy drinks are a little bit cheaper as well. I found Monsters typically around 2,000 pesos, sometimes even less for like 1,500. For bread, you're paying about 2,400 pesos for a loaf of bread. Quite a lot of selection here. They do eat a fair bit of bread. And then moving into the olive oil, this lady wouldn't get out of the way, but it costs about 11,000 pesos as well. A couple other things real quick just to wrap things up. Things like the subway or the bus. Right now it's costing like 125 pesos, which is like 12 cents. So very, very cheap. But overall, very affordable country, very affordable city. And this is how much things cost here. So thank you very much for watching.